Certain kinds of formulas are not obvious, and yet after working with Excel for a while, you realize, gee, I could have figured that out. But how do you set the stage for writing formulas? In this particular worksheet called YTD and percent increase, we want to calculate the year-to-date profits month by month. In January, we've only made 20 here. We're not going to type a 20 because what happens if we need to change the overhead or the sales numbers? Here's a formula here that subtracts the two. We really want this number to always be the same as the one above it. What we really want to say here, by way of a formula, equal B4. Type it or click it. Those are always going to be the same. If the overhead number gets reduced to 90 through some correction, sure enough, the two numbers are reacting in the same kind of way. That's what we would want. Changing it back, they react the same way. What are we going to do for February, though? Because here we don't want this to always be equal to 30. We want our year-to-date total. And we know it's going to be 50 because we made 20 in January and 30 in February. So we're going to add the two, or are we? We can get 50 by adding these two cells or by adding these two cells. In March, we need to add 50 onto what? Not the 30, because that's only February. We need to add on to whatever this total was. So if we're just thinking ahead to March for the moment, we need to add this cell and these two cells. So in February, if there's some confusion about what cells we need to add to get a year-to-date total, it's going to be these two. And in no particular order. It doesn't make any difference which one comes first. So equal, I'm going to click these. You can type them just as easily. B5 plus C4. Complete the entry, 50. And as we drag this rightward, we're hoping to see in the next cell over, it's going to be 100. And then we'll see some other numbers here. Drag this all the way into June using the fill handle. And sure enough, that year-to-date total for June should match the profit total for the year. So each one of these cells here, from here rightward, C5 through G5, represents the total of the cell to the left and the cell above. This is the kind of formula which, if you tried to look up in an Excel book, you might find it or you might not. And it just reminds us sometimes you have to be a little bit creative. You have to think out what the numbers are and how they work together best. And certainly anybody writing this formula for the first time is very likely to simply add these two cells and then realize eventually that's not the correct way to do this. So a year-to-date profit, year-to-date total in a variety of different situations works in the same style as we see it here.